The first time round would have been mid to late 80s when I worked at Pi recording studios, and I think Dig was just sent my way because he wanted to cut a record, wanted to attend a record cut. Can't remember what the record was. That was it. Can't remember more.
And how many Earache records did you work on back then?
Over the years, quite a few, from sort of early Napalm and Bolt Thrower, up until I'd say late 90s perhaps. Then we kind of drifted apart or whatever, or he was getting his vinyl cut elsewhere, until just a year or so ago when, yes, pleasant email from old friends.
And you've worked on some of the records remastered that you worked on the first time round?
Yeah. I've recut a couple of things that I cut first time round, yes. Like Bolt Thrower, and probably others too. Too many to remember after so many years.
If you had to pick one that you've worked on, an Earache record, which would you pick? Best one?
The tune I'll pick would be World Eater.
Really?
By Bolt Thrower. That was just a great tune, just stuck in the head immediately. But I remember the first time I heard Godflesh just being totally in awe of it. You know, just thought, God, this is something really good, and dark and different. I hadn't come across anything like it before.
What part do you think you play in the importance of vinyl? Like, where does this come into it? Why is it important to keep releasing things on vinyl?
To keep the format going. It's the best format.
Why?
It sounds good, it's physical, it's real, it looks good. There's enough reasons.
What can you get from vinyl that you can't get from a CD though?
Good question. You can get... It sounds very, very good. It sounds good. I mean, people will argue about which is better. It sounds different. I would argue sometimes that vinyl does sound better. And you do, at least when you first play a record, you put on track 1 on side 1 and you finish up with the last track on side 2. So you have listened to it at least once in the way that the artist intended it to be listened to, with those songs in that order, even with the correct gaps between songs to give it the feel that was his initial or was the band's initial idea. You don't get that with a download.
And what is the benefit of a full dynamic range remaster and re-release?
Unlike a lot of CDs, which all got into, all of us mastering engineers had to get involved in the Loudness Wars, which, if we don't want to do it, the client wants us to do it, and we have to do what the client wants us to do. And if they want their CD louder and louder and louder, and possibly louder than everyone else's, then we have to try and do that, which doesn't actually do the sound any favours. So to go back from that and to work with stuff that's not been squashed to death and still has some dynamic range is nice. Even if it does mean you've got to lean over and turn the volume control of your amplifier up. That's better than what I find myself doing when I put on some CDs is reaching for the volume control and turning it down because it's too loud. Even when it's quiet, it's too loud. It's like being shouted at the whole time. So to work on something that's got natural dynamics is nice. It's good.
Perfect.